In a quiet valley surrounded by mist-covered hills, there lived a young traveler carrying a heavy burden. Not a physical one, but something far heavier. A burden of anger, of hurt, of betrayal. You see, long ago someone had wronged him deeply. Words were spoken that could not be taken back. Trust was broken, and in his heart, a fire had been lit, a fire of resentment. It burned quietly, but it never went out. He tried to ignore it. He worked hard, smiled when he had to, but inside, he carried the weight. The past clung to him like wet clothes on a cold day. One morning, the traveler decided to leave his village. He had heard whispers of a place deep in the mountains, where wisdom flowed like water, where monks lived in silence and peace. Maybe there, he thought, he could find a way to let go. The path was long, days turned into weeks. The mountains tested him, cold winds, steep climbs, hunger, loneliness, but the fire in his heart, that old anger, kept him moving forward. Finally, he arrived. The monastery was carved into the mountain itself, simple, still, and utterly quiet. A monk greeted him with a bow. No questions, no judgment, just quiet gesture that said, "Welcome." For days, the traveler sat in silence. He listened to the wind, the birds, his own breath. Time slowed. The noise of the world began to fade. And then came the lesson. One morning, the monk handed the traveler a large bowl. It was filled to the brim with water. "Carry this," he said, and walked through the garden without spilling a single drop. The traveler did as he was told. Slowly, carefully, he made it to the end. The monk asked, "While you walked, did you think of the one who wronged you?" "No," the traveler replied. "I was focused only on the bowl." The monk smiled. "You see, when your hands are full with something sacred, there is no room to carry what poisons you." The traveler didn't answer, but something shifted inside him. Later that day, he asked the monk, "How do I forgive someone who isn't sorry, who may never be?" The monk paused, then said, "Forgiveness is not for them, it is for you. You think you carry your anger, but it is your anger that carries you into pain, into fear, into a life that does not belong to you. When you forgive, you set down the burden, not because they deserve peace, but because you do." The traveler listened, but forgiveness still felt impossible. It felt like giving up, like letting the other person win. So the monk gave him another task. He led him to a nearby spring. "Fill this cup," he said, "and carry it to the top of the hill. But each time you think of your anger, pour a little water out." The traveler agreed. He climbed, slowly, carefully, but every time he remembered the betrayal, a little water fell, memory after memory, bitterness after bitterness. By the time he reached the top, the cup was empty. The monk arrived shortly after. "You see," he said, "this is what your anger has done. You wanted to carry peace to the top of the mountain, but the past has emptied you." That night, the traveler wept for the first time in years, not because of the hurt, but because he saw what he had become while clinging to it. And slowly, forgiveness began. Not all at once, not with joy, but like snow melting in spring. Quiet, gradual, natural. He sat beneath the trees. He breathed deeply. He wrote a letter he would never send. He whispered the words no one else would hear. "I forgive you." And with those words, something remarkable happened. The fire went out. Not because the pain was forgotten, but because it was no longer needed. He had carried it long enough. He stayed at the monastery many more days, but not because he was running, not because he was broken, because now he was becoming whole. And when he left, he didn't take the anger with him. He took the silence, the stillness, the freedom, because in the end, forgiveness wasn't about the past at all. It was about choosing peace, here, now, and that is the greatest freedom of all.